I'm Clint Culberson with lordsofconsciousness.com, and today I am here with a very special guest, Rachel Flower, and Rachel is a numerologist, and so I'm really excited to kind of get to understand a little bit more about the art of numerology. And Rachel, how are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having me here. It's wonderful what you're doing. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, we're here at Unify Fest in Santa Fe, New Mexico. All sorts of amazing people running around. That they're sharing their gifts and just sharing it within each other and so on and so forth. It's just been a wonderful weekend so far.
Here. So many great people. I'm really inspired. It's great. Yeah.
So tell me, I want to know more about numerology. And so for those who don't understand it, can you kind of explain the science behind it? Or maybe not, you don't have to, obviously there's books written about this. So, give the bird's eye view of what numerology is and so maybe to spark the interest in others who might not know and understand, but maybe this is something that they need to look further into.
Yeah, it's really all about frequency. You know that we're drawn to certain beautiful art or music. That's all frequency. And numerology is really about the frequency in your name. The form of numerology that I do is called a soul contract reading. And we're looking at the coded information in the phonetic sounds of your name. And if you think your name is like a homing signal, it's something that you have all your life unless you change it, which is another thing. And we work with people who do want to change their names too. But it's kind of like a homing signal. But most people don't decode that information that's hidden in those frequencies as to what is it about that name. And on a deeper level, it's not that your parents gave you your name, but you gave yourself a name because you wanted that coded information. You wanted to live out those gifts and talents and challenges and soul destiny aspects, and that's what we decode from the name. So it's fascinating. It's fairly recently I've got into it in the last few years, but it's influenced everything I do now.
So I think we were speaking yesterday, so this is only something that surfaced in the last couple of decades, correct?
Yes. This is an ancient form of numerology that I do. Thousands of years old, got buried like many things have, many ancient wisdoms, and it reemerged in the 1980s through a guy actually based in England, and he started decoding this information. It came visions, experiences, and it just happened through him. And then my teacher trained with him, and he's been doing this for 25 years. So he's been incorporating it into people's lives, baby naming businesses, whatever. But it's an ancient knowledge, and it's based on not the form of numerology that a lot of people are familiar with, which is A equals 1, B equals 2, that kind of thing on our alphabet. It's based on the Hebrew alphabet, and each of the glyphs in Hebrew, there's 22 glyphs, each is intricately connected with a number. So this form of numerology takes your name, translates it into Hebrew, and then you come up with 7 pairs of numbers that represent your name in terms of your gifts, your challenges, your life lessons, your goals, and your soul destiny numbers, which are really about the theme of your life. Yeah. So it's different, and that's kind of what I liked about it, because when it came to me, it just felt like, wow, I know this. It felt very connected. And that it's all about the phonetic sound rather than just where the letter is in the alphabet in our system. I mean, they're both amazing, but this one just spoke to me really deeply, and so it's an amazing system. So
does it work? I mean, do you specifically work more with pronouns, like actual names, or is there numerology to pretty much all written language?
Everything, sentences. Your name, you've got middle names, and we look at the birth name, for example. So when I'm doing somebody's chart, I'll make sure I want to know their complete birth name. And some people have 2, and there's all kinds of interesting ramifications there. But then I'll look at sometimes their business names, and sometimes taglines, sentences. We can run the numbers for everything. House names, house addresses. So, and some people have strange experiences in a house and they want to shift the energies of the house. You can change your name of the house. and it will, or give the name a house, give the house a name. Sometimes people don't have a house for a name for their house. So it's really in everything.
Right.
Anything that has a sound, there are numbers associated with it, really, because the phonetic sound is what we're looking at here.
Right. So, I mean, depending on the numbers that you come up with, are there certain numbers that you can come up with that kind of have a negative connotation to them, or a negative whatever, I know
what you're saying. Yeah.
Or is there a good and bad in the numerology world, or just everything has just?
That's a really good question. Yeah. You know how in astrology you have certain aspects, say like Capricorn can be very grounded but also stubborn, right? So you have the contracted version of a number and the expanded version of it. And so we're all on a spectrum with our numbers. So the numbers that we come in with that are in a karmic position, so we have a physical karma and a spiritual karma, the numbers associated with that, those numbers would be more, you will be displaying initially the challenging aspects of those numbers more than the expanded. And then you grow as you grow spiritually and emotionally, as you move through life consciously, then you work through those numbers into the more expanded version. If you're not going through life consciously, you're just going to keep with those same challenges. You know how some people want to sit on a sofa and eat Twinkies. They're not going to, get very far. Right. But having said that, there are also numbers that when you see them anywhere in a chart, they like a 21-3, 21-3, so 2 plus 1 equals 3, so you get a pair of numbers like that. That is all about endurance and hardship. And so somebody with that number may have a lot of stamina and endurance, and they've generally gone through a lot, even if it's in a talent position. So yeah, there's that kind of number that can, threes in a karmic position, whilst they in an expanded position are about leadership and deep communication, but in a karmic position it can be really hard around self-image. So each number has its spectrum, and we're looking at how can we move everything up the spectrum. And what I've noticed is that the karmic numbers that people have, if they're putting themselves out in the world and working with people and changing lives or just doing something good, those numbers are usually the numbers that are their gift to people. So their very wound is the thing that they work through in their business, and that, the challenges. So for me, for example, 9s I have in a karmic position. 9 is all about power. It's a dragon energy. It's about catalyzing things. And for me, in a karmic position, it meant I had to claim my power. So I had a lot of disempowering experiences that were not
from past lives, you're saying? Or who
some
can
of
say?
It does, we don't know. Right. I mean, you come in with stuff, and we're not really a blank slate, are we? There's so much kind of that we bring in. And there's so much that is unique also to this life that we're saying, okay, well, this time around, here's what I want to experience. And so we have, we in the womb, or even sometimes pre-womb, we have an idea of, okay, well, these are the things I want to experience. These are the talents I want to have. These are the things that I want to work through. And then we find a wonderful name, and then we transmit it to our parents, and they think they've named us, but actually we really named ourselves. And then we get to live through that coded information. The cool thing is that when we can become conscious of it, then we can, it's not going to change the numbers that you have, but that it's going to help you more consciously grow and say, you don't have to be distracted by so many other things. You can say, I'm going to work on my 6s, I'm going to work on my 9s. It gives you a focus.
Gotcha. So I was going to ask you, because you're dealing with something that is kind of on the subconscious. I mean, it's not that most people are aware of the certain coding that's going on within the language, but how, from your perspective, being in being understanding this, I guess you'd call it art or science, or esoteric science, whatever you would like to call it. How do you kind of how do you show people that there's value in this, because you're trying to awaken something that's pretty much most people are asleep to. I mean, even me. I mean, I've only found out about numerology a couple of years ago, and I'm still discovering really what its real power is. But how do you unlock that in people so that they understand that, hey, there is something here?
You know, it's very interesting because a lot of people are quite open. You know, this sort of festival space, you're going to have, I've met so many people that are so curious, and unfortunately the internet doesn't work very well here, so I can't do readings for people very easily because I access my software through that. But what I've noticed is that even some of the folks I work with who are very much more in they might be wealth professionals or, you know, workshop leaders and speakers, I can demonstrate to them how the numbers work in business names and show them even there's a lot of data about email open rates. When you get the right combination of words, you can predict how much more the open rate is going to be for their emails and show them. And I've had that happen for people and they're like, wow. So it's very skeptical people. I've been able to sort of help them see more. And sometimes, especially when I was learning it, I was trying it with everyone, friends, whoever, and I said, take it all with a pinch of salt. But what was really cool was that when I would do a reading for them and show them, they'd say, wow, how did you know that? How did you know that was what I was struggling with, or that that's my gift, or something just resonates deep in their being? So I don't talk much about it. I just do it with them. Right. And if they're curious, and then the act of doing it, they get to see how it works. And I've got so many people, testimonials, videos, and people saying, wow, you know, I was skeptical, I didn't get it, but this really helped. I really got some insight out of it. So incredible.
Yeah. It's incredible because it's something that you have tangible results with.
One thing I want to share is that how it came to me was I was doing some branding work for a client because I work with people on their message and their story, their business story and everything. And she came to me and she did this form of numerology. And she gave me this reading because in order for me to work with her, I needed to know what she did. And she gave a fantastic reading and it was so accurate. I said, I want to do this. How does it work? And immediately I started studying it. Her teacher, she introduced me to a teacher and the rest is history. But from that, I just saw how practical it was because it wasn't just a reading for my being, and it corresponded to the astrological readings and human design readings and all these other modalities. It was just another lens of looking at me, slightly different angle. But then she also my business and everything, and I'm saying this is so practical. And because I work with business owners, I got to see how it worked. And I'm coming back to your question now of, you know, it's a practical thing that people get to experience, and it's not just the words that are there, but the combination of words when they're all together is a frequency. And let's say that frequency comes out to a 7-7 or a 16-7 or a 13-4. These are super attractive numbers. We don't know why, but they just are. There's something about them. And you'll notice that sometimes when people are doing sales, they'll have 247 at the end. You know, there'll be a 7 at the end, or the numbers will add up to 7 or 13. There's a reason for that. So there's certain combinations that even if we don't know consciously, something is going on. Like a beautiful symphony. There's something, it's like stimulating a resonant frequency inside of us, and we're drawn to it for no reason. Or seemingly no reason. And that's what we're working with here. So when I work with conscious business owners, I want to find 7s and 13-4s, because these are the numbers that are heart connected, resonant, good for conscious business. If you're working with a Harley Davidson gang leader, you want a 9 right at the door. It's like it's a scary number for somebody right at the door of a business. So there's certain things you look at a business name and it's just like, oh, even though you don't know why, but it's like scary. So it's a game. It's so much fun to see, and a lot of it is subconscious. We don't understand it. And sometimes I've run the numbers for some major companies just to see, and I did even Steve Jobs. I ran his numbers, his personal numbers, and I was watching the video of, the movie of his life, and as they were showing it, I could see, oh, that's his 7, that's his 4. You know, I could see how it was playing out in his life. So I love doing the numbers for famous people. It's a lot of fun.
It's incredible. Yeah. And it'd be interesting to see as time goes on, maybe we have a better understanding of why this is resonating with us, why these frequencies are hitting at certain points within people, why they're attracting. And I mean, I think a lot of the metaphysical and the esoteric, people want to discredit it because it's not backed by five senses science, but not yet, and I think we're finding that five senses science is actually starting to catch up in many ways to understand it and to start explaining why things are happening. And maybe there's parts of this we'll never understand. This might be part of the great mystery that,
Well, it's so interesting because there really is no such thing as full objectivity. And they're discovering, I have a background in physics, actually, so this fits really well with my background. Yeah. And what you're talking about is resonance, and frequency. Again, coming back to that original, and it's sacred geometry, numbers. Everything is numbers. The Matrix movie, it's all about numbers. So it's rediscovering those resonances inside of us. And there is, even in science, they're understanding more the experimenter, the observer effect, right? That people influence the results of the experiment just by the desire of what they want. And it's not that they're tampering with it consciously, but there's some energetic going on. And you've got Heisenberg's principle of, you observe something and you change it already by observing it. So I think science and spirituality, we're understanding more the overlap in the gray area or the multicolor area. It's not really gray.
It's happening.
Yeah.
My last question to you.
Yes.
What you're here at Unify Fest this weekend? I mean, and I'm sure you've been to many other festivals or gatherings, or what do you think the real impact is of these types of gatherings and festivals?
To me, it's again coming back to resonance. I think we can connect with people through the internet really easily now, and there's a lot. And of course, the internet was needed in order to bring people here and bring these communities together. But when we're together literally, and there's these deep trainings and teachings, and especially here with the signing of the treaty and the gathering of clans, tribes that would be at war with each other, and to me it represents something way bigger. I'm seeing so much kindness here. People lose things and they're just left for a whole day. Really valuable objects are just left out, and so the person can come back and find them. And I see that the interaction and the cross-pollination that's going on here, a lot of wisdom being shared. And even though we've got classes going on here, I've been attending a lot of other people's classes and learning and making connections. It's that physical connection. I've got people that I have a feeling I'm going to be collaborating with. There's that sort of stuff. And look at this, what we're doing right now. Who knows where that's going to go? Right. It's resonance, it's heart connection. And you can't virtualize a hug. It's not the same. It never will be, and there's a reason for that. So we're just here 24/7. And last night I was sitting up late, around the campfire with these elders, telling stories and telling us about the Mayan calendar and throwing things into the fire and just sharing, just like the old times. But we're here. We don't have to go back, but we need to bring that wisdom forward. So there's a lot of beauty in sharing. So
beautiful. Where can people get a hold of you? Where can they find you? Maybe they want to get a reading done.
Most of my readings are done on the phone or through video conferencing. And my website is nameintegration.net. Nameintegration.net. And also soulpurposenumerology.com. And you can go there and you can actually get access to a free reading, just a little quick sort of overview of your name. And then if you want to understand it more, then you come back to me. My number is there. But
they can contact you from the website?
Actually, let me give you nameintegration.net is the first page that people go to, and they can get that free gift. But then there's another site, which is thegiftinyourname.com, thegiftinyourname.com. And there's more information about me and the different programs I do, and my contact details.
Perfect.
And you can go there and find out more, and just if you're curious to know how this stuff works.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
My
You've really
pleasure.
opened up my mind, and I'm sure even the viewers of this video
Thank
opened
you.
their minds up to something maybe brand new to them, or maybe they already known. I mean, there's different levels of
Yeah.
everyone's knowledge that
Yeah.
will see this, and hopefully they gain something from us. But I really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel.